Hello and welcome to this episode of the MediaTech Podcast. My name is Matt and we have Pam here. She is our August 2019 YouTube Student of the Month. And we're going to go over a little bit about her background. If you're interested in, just watching a short video of her, we have a Student of the Month video that just went up if you want to go check that out. And we also have a project video, a student highlight. I think they're called hands-on videos. We're just launching that series off of or over a project that she's very proud of. You can go check that out as well. Both of those links will be in the description of this video if you're on YouTube. Otherwise, just go to youtube.com/MediaTech Institute. And welcome to the podcast, Pam. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
So I want to talk basically just an extended interview of what we did for the video.
Okay.
So if you could talk a little bit about your background, not about MediaTech yet, but about your early background in childhood.
My early background, like I was talking about, I'm the blessing of a teenage pregnancy. My mom was 16, dad was 18, and dad wasn't really around. So, I lived with my grandparents and my mom because we're both kids, essentially, and music was just in the house. I mean, I grew up in Corpus Christi, Texas, and, the home place of Selena. So she wasn't terribly big at that point, but we had all sorts of music, country, Tejano, like you name it, it was there. And I'd open the door to my room, and my grandparents would be dancing with each other in the living room. It was
That's so cool.
It was the coolest thing ever, I'm just like, oh, that's so cool. Or I just see my grandma dancing by herself. She's like doing her little thing. And my mom, she's a performer. She's a wonderful singer. She did a lot of dancing as well. I grew up dancing. I used to wear a dress, believe it or not, back in the day. And, Dad was in and out of the picture. When I was 3, I finally met him, and he introduced me to the guitar, which is my personal favorite instrument of choice and my first love, really.
That's awesome. I did forget to mention that you are a recording arts student specifically.
Yeah.
So with your love of the guitar, how did that sort of evolve over time?
Well, I kind of back in the childhood, although I'd had a decent childhood, it's just, with growing up, there's always some kind of drama, and especially without my dad and all that. So I grew up with a lot of just chaos in the house, and I did witness, physical and verbal abuse. So what I would do is I would isolate to my room, and I just play my guitar. That was my safe spot, and I didn't know how to get my emotions out, verbally because I was scared. I was a little kid. But I learned really quickly how to do it on the guitar.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and that just followed me all the way up to adulthood. Whether it was a heartbreak or I'm angry or I'm sad or happy, whatever it is, I would just grab my guitar. And it's to the point where I don't even need to play it. If I'm just holding it, I feel complete,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So are you self-taught?
I am. Yeah. I only do, I play by ear, and me trying to read music and play at the same time is quite a show because it is not good.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, sheet music go away, close my eyes, and I just go and, make up my own little licks. I love challenging myself, so I love, putting on some new music and learning on the spot, and within the first few beats, I've already got it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, sweet. So tell me about, so you were in the service. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. I joined the Coast Guard February of 2003, and did 11 years, 9 active, 2 reserves. Some of the best times of my life and some of the worst times of my life.
Yeah.
Met some really good people who are still lifelong friends till this very day. Again, it was the best thing I ever could have done for myself because I needed to grow up and I needed to get out of Corpus. I needed to just be a part of something bigger than me. And I've always been like that since I was a little kid. And the Coast Guard it definitely made me grow up really fast.
Oh, I'm sure.
It really did. College wasn't my thing back in the day, and I was like, I'm just going to join the service. And what they don't tell you is your first duty station, they give you a pile of books.
Really?
They're like, get to reading. I'm like, what? You got to get qualified. You got to sit on boards. You've got to know your stuff. Because when things are happening, I did search and rescue mostly. When things are happening, you can't refer to a book or a tech pub. You got to know your stuff. And, people's lives are on the line, including your own. So you need to know what to do and why you're doing it.
So with search and rescue, that's got to be a hectic job sometimes. I mean, what would be a particularly, I don't want to say hectic, that's has a negative connotation, but a particularly full day in terms of search and rescue, what would that entail?
Well, it depends. Usually if you're at a small boat station, it's depending on the schedule, it's like 2 on, 2 off every other weekend. You have your regular work day from 7:30 or whatever, boat checks in the morning, maintenance throughout the day. You kind of stop the work day around 5:30 or depending on what the workload is. But while you have your work day, you got to be ready to go when the bell rings. So when that bell rings, you got to stop what you're doing. You got to go and go help some people if you can. And not every case is the same. So you got to be ready for anything. And, sometimes you'll have good saves and sometimes you won't. And those are the ones that stick with you.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's got to be really tough.
Yep.
So during that time was, I guess the guitar specifically, but music, did that help carry you through during those difficult times? Like, how did that play a role in your life?
Music, I would always just put my earbuds in and just listen to music. It's almost like it quieted my mind to those thoughts. And, even if I felt sad, I would listen to sad music because I really needed to grieve. I needed to feel it. If I was happy, I'd put on that happy music. If I was working out, I'd put on that, grunge, like metal. You just got to get it out. It really, man, I'm like bipolar when it comes to my music choices. It's just like 1 minute, it's like Celine Dion. The next minute, it's All That Remains. And you'd probably be like, what are you doing? Like my playlist is all over the place. But man, music really just helped me in those moments where I'm just not in a good place.
Yeah. So, a little bit of a lighthearted question. What would be, if you were just to guess, the top 5 most played songs in your iPod or whatever history?
The top, oh man, you're getting me right on the spot. Can you pause this? Oh man, anything Iron Maiden.
Yeah?
I will say that because I love Iron Maiden. Probably some Aaron Watson. Told you it's all over the place. Oh man, like Black Sabbath. Oh, Hellstorm and Breaking Benjamin.
Oh man, I love Breaking Benjamin.
Breaking Benjamin really got me through a lot of stuff when I first joined the Coast Guard. Yeah, they're my all-time favorite, followed by Hellstorm. I love In This Moment. But I'm a Texas girl, so I still love my Texas country. Wade Bowen, Randy Rogers. Again, you're gonna look at me and be like, "What is wrong with you?" And I love music. Like, what's speaking to me today?
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
So is there any genre that you're not a huge fan of? That's probably a better question. You're not going to alienate anybody. We all have our
Man, I hate to say this, but probably right now.
Sure.
Pop country.
Pop country.
Oh, it's killing me.
Or bro country? Is that the same thing?
I have no idea. It's not country. I grew up in Alan Jackson, George Strait days.
Yeah.
And that's country to me.
So like first generation Taylor Swift, I guess, is not your favorite?
Man, when you start hearing pop or beats, like don't get me started on Old Town Road. That's like, just don't get me started on that. But, kind of like veering off of like the true original, content of what country music was, because I love like the Hank Williams, I love all that stuff from back in the day. And I understand music's going to evolve, but I don't want to evolve with it. Again, I got to work on that if I'm going to be a producer. And I've been better, believe it or not. I've been a lot better. Probably that and classical.
Yeah.
I appreciate classical, but it's not on my playlist.
Yeah.
I've got no classical music on my phone.
Not even like a movie soundtrack kind of thing?
Nope.
That's what I really love. I love it puts my head back into whatever. We're getting a little off topic, but
see, and that's what like In This Moment does for me.
Yeah.
It recenters me. Like they recenter me.
That's really cool. So tell me about leaving the Coast Guard and your first experience with sort of music production.
Wow, when I left the Coast Guard, it was very rough. I'll just say that. And I don't know how deep we want to get here, but I will, I'll just go there. About 5.5 years ago, almost, I was suicidal. I was just like, I just wanted to end it. Like, I lost my identity. I lost who I was because the Coast Guard was all I knew. And then I didn't have it anymore. I didn't even have my shipmates. I had nothing. On top of a lot of other train wrecks that were happening, like, I had no hope. And even music wasn't speaking to me. I was just so numbed out. And I ended up finding a program here in Irving, Texas that really helped me work on a lot of my stuff. And in that program, there's a lot of music. And that's what ultimately helped save my life. Because somebody chose to share their story through music, it helped me take that 100% off the table. And with that, that's why I've got my little business that I do. I want to produce. I want to get people's emotions out, and I want to tell their story from a different angle, because somebody needs to hear that, because your story is important.
Yeah.
And I lean on the quote from Dave Grohl. He says, from the Foo Fighters, he says, that's the great thing about music is you could sing a song to 85,000 people, and they'll all sing it back to you for 85,000 different reasons.
I love that.
Like, it captures me, because I'm like, it's true.
Yeah.
Because we oftentimes feel alone. We feel like nobody cares or we don't matter, but that's not the truth, So my mission is to help save lives, and I've always had the ear for music. I've always been able to arrange music. I've just never known how to put it together until I came here to MediaTech. And that's really why I'm doing what I'm doing, is I want to help save people's lives. Can't save everybody, and I know that, and it sounds horrible, but I had to learn that very quickly in the Coast Guard, and I'm at peace with that. But damn it, everybody deserves an honest shot.
Yeah.
And if I can help somebody with music, why not?
I love that. So when you are producing and as you're learning your craft here at MediaTech, is there any specific process or technique that you're really starting to fall in love with?
With producing, I love just talking to the artist, even myself, because I am an artist. Just trying to figure out where we want to go, where we want to take it, what's the message we want to convey. And from that part, there is no right or wrong on how to structure the song. It doesn't have to be, verse, chorus, bridge. It doesn't have to be that way. You can make it your own, but what's the story you want to tell? And that's the part I'm falling in love with, is how do you want to tell that story to your listeners?
Yeah.
And let's just do it. Let's go against the grain and do it. And I think that's my biggest takeaway, is I love going against the grain with anything and everything in life. And I don't know, then maybe that's my little rebel, 5-year-old little girl. She likes doing stuff like that. But that's really fun. That's real fun.
So going back to your childhood, I'm reminded of a story you told when we were shooting your interview. I don't know if it made the cut or not. I haven't edited it yet, but tell us the story about your guitar when you were a kid.
Oh man, my first guitar. So after I met my biological dad, about 3 or so, my grandma got me my first guitar, because I'd apparently pick everything up in the house and pretend it was a guitar. So about 5 years old, she went to Mexico and got me a little guitar, but it was a sunburst color. And me being me, I wanted a black guitar. So I went and grabbed my grandpa's, kiwi shoe polish and painted the entire guitar front and back just black. I was so proud of it. But man, I got in so much trouble. My grandma would, little Mexican woman, you go wash that off right now. She wanted me to wash it off. So me being 5, I'm like, all right, let's go draw it a bath.
Oh,
nice hot bath. And I felt so good, because I was, protecting my guitar. This was my baby. I washed it off. It was good. And I put it outside in the garage and came back later to make sure it was dried. And it went into 1,000,000 pieces.
Gosh.
I was so heartbroken. And that, I can honestly say, was my first heartbreak ever.
Yeah.
It wasn't a boy. It wasn't any of that. It wasn't a puppy. It was my guitar.
Oh my gosh.
And that's when I realized I love this thing.
Yeah.
And So yeah, that was hard. But I got another guitar.
Yeah.
So and I did not give it a bath.
Well, good.
No. So,
I guess you quickly figured out how to polish and clean your guitars the right way, I guess.
did. And if I want a black guitar, I should just go buy a black guitar. I didn't realize they made more than one color.
Yeah. So I also play guitar. I have a similar background of music from when I was a really young kid. If someone was to give you, I don't know, a blank check and said go to Guitar Center or whatever, what would you come away with?
I love Les Pauls.
Yeah.
I love the Gibson Les Paul. I love the sound of it. I love everything about it. All of the Gretches, they seem to be pretty popular. I love the tone in that. I just don't have one.
Yeah.
So I may just do that since I already have a Les Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Gretsch's. They look so classic, especially the orange. Oh, yeah. I love it.
And you look cool playing it.
Right?
It's just like, oh, you got a lot of money. It's like, actually, I don't, but thank you.
I realize, this is again off topic, but if the same question was of me, it would be a hollow body PRS for sure. I love PRS guitars.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I've never played one.
Really? Mm-mm. Oh, man. Just the quality, you can just tell. Because I love Gibson as well, but yeah, PRS is my thing. What about amps?
Well, I have my Vox. I have a tube amp right now, and that little guy has been with me for 13, 14 years.
Wow.
And and it's been through many moves, and it's been through plenty of Texas, hot days, and it still just sounds great.
Yeah.
And that, it's my little buddy. So I'm a big fan of that. I've played a Marshall, but I haven't played it long enough to tell whether I like it or not. Yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't even know what I would do with a half stack. I would just be like, how do you do this? And because my little Vox it's simple. It's just carry it around and call it a day. Yeah. You start getting really technical with me, I'm probably going to scratch my head and be like, I don't know what I'm doing, but teach me. So yeah, probably Vox. What about you?
I really like Mesa because if I'm playing like Breaking Benjamin and Alter Bridge and all them are like my favorite like go-to music. So Mesa is probably my favorite.
Is that what they use?
Mark Tremonti uses a Mesa Mark IV from the 90s. I don't know what the other Miles Kennedy, what the singer uses in Alter Bridge.
Oh, I love him.
Me too. His voice is amazing.
Sorry, we're having a moment.
Yeah, right. And I don't know about Breaking Benjamin. I think they use Marshall for some reason. I used to be huge into researching what kind of gear all my favorite bands
Probably
use.
Marshall. That seems to be like the hot commodity.
Oh no, he's a Diesel. I don't know if you've heard of Diesel before. Diesel. They're super high end. Like I think they start like $5,000 or $6,000 for a cab.
Really?
Yeah, but
man, I was gonna go get one too.
No.
Shot down my dreams.
Have you heard of the app called Amplitube? I think that's what it's called. Let me double check.
Amplitube? Nope.
It's again, we're getting really off topic here, but I like this discussion. It's Amplitube. That's it right there.
Oh, Amplitube.
So it's really cool. If any podcasters are listening, so like I live in a small apartment with my wife in McKinney, and there's just no way I could have like a loud amp in there. So I use this app. I don't know if I'd ever record with it. I don't think anybody really does, but it has all these modeled amps from like Marshall and Orange and Mesa, and it comes with a bunch of Amplitube like flavored amps or branded amps, but for like $5 you can buy the Mesa pack or Marshall, and it really sounds good.
How do you plug into this thing?
You buy most places have it. I forget what it's called, but it's a device that you plug your guitar in and you plug your headphones out, and you plug in if you have a new iPhone, or you plug into the charging jack if you have an Android or an older iPhone with a headphone jack, you plug into that, and it sounds so good, and you can turn it up as loud as you want. If you have a good pair of headphones, I swear I can't even tell the difference. It is.
Because I'm in an apartment too.
It's free, and like I said, it's a few dollars for the packs or for each amp, but it's also a really good way to like decide what you want to use on a specific song.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
I'm gonna download that one.
So there you go.
Amplitube.
So MediaTech Podcast tip of the day, Amplitube. There's a lot of other apps like that, but in my opinion, that's my favorite. But
that's cool.
So let's get back. So. All right. Off that huge crazy tangent. So how did you find MediaTech?
I was living in Austin, and it was about honestly like 10 months ago now. My job, it just wasn't working out, so I knew I was going to be leaving, and I wanted to come back up to DFW, and I'm like, you know what, I just want to do music. Like, what music school is in DFW? And I literally Googled it. It was like the first or second thing that popped up, and then I started reading about MediaTech, and I got sold pretty quickly, and made a few visits up here. Talked to the people in admissions, came for the orientation. I did all the legwork. Brandy, if you're listening, I like blew her just email and phone calling, and just like, where are we at with this? Where are we at? Because I was so just determined to get here, and she's a sweetheart. She just dealt with me, and it worked out. But yeah, the staff here is fantastic, and I couldn't have chosen a better place for me, with the atmosphere and the people that work here and people that go here, and It's just the coolest thing ever, man. It's like if you can find that golden nugget for recording arts, like this is the place.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Schedule a tour too if you're listening. Like the facilities here are so like especially the first time you see them are so impressive. You know.
Oh, I bring friends. They're like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I know, right? And I'm like bragging about this school, and they're like, when do I sign up? I'm like, well, come on, you know. So definitely get a tour, and you know it's free. Get with admissions, and you know they're amazing. You know they'll take you in the studios, take you around everywhere, and get really, you know, personal with you as far as like what you want and what they can provide, and it's a good match when you can find it.
That's awesome. So when we were shooting the B-roll for one of the videos that you're in, you were mixing a song that was kind of grungy and like metal-y, I guess, or so tell me, like, is that what I know that your interest in music spans a whole bunch of different genres, but is that what you're kind of focusing on, is sort of metal, and so it sounded almost like Breaking Benjamin kind of like style. Is that kind of where you're wanting to go?
Well, it just so happens that project, the guy, you know, his genre is very much what I love, which is rock and metal and stuff. So when we recorded this song, we wanted to bring a grungy feel with the guitars. So I think that's what you heard, and we just kind of going with it. And it's a lot of the emotion of chaos based on what the story is telling in the song. So I'm very biased towards rock and alternative, all that stuff, and metal. Matter of fact, I love because here it's very much like hip hop and rap. There's a huge hip hop and rap community, right? But I like coming in the side door and just throwing my amp on and be like, really? Like, let's do this instead, you know? They're like, what?
How many fellow students are into recording the same kind of music that you're doing?
Not many.
Yeah.
No, not many. And it's kind of cool because, you know, as fellow students, we'll lean on each other, because I don't make beats, but I know a lot of people that do, and they're very good beats. So we'll do a trade-off.
Oh, that's cool.
Hey, you know, put a beat on my track, or I'll put some guitar on your track, you know, just because you could take it anywhere. I don't know where I was going with this. Oh yeah, so the song, you know, that's basically what that song's about. Just the emotion is very grungy. Tomorrow it could be very just acoustic guitar. I lay everything down with acoustics first, and then from there we'll go or piano, and then we'll figure out what instruments we want to use.
That's really cool.
Yeah, because I mean that's my baby.
Yeah.
You know, so I'll just improvise, and if we need to make a beat, at least we have the melody. So that's how I kind of do it.
That's awesome. So in your video, you mentioned that you really like living in the moment, and that you really, I don't know, how did you put it, that you don't, like when you're thinking about your future, how does that go?
If I'm going to be financially just stable, or I'm safe, I don't really look too much in the future, because I do love living in the moment, like riding this wave of life just to see where it's going to take me. I have a clear direction on where I want to go. May not look the way I want it, and that's okay. You know, I lean on my higher power, because that's just, man, he's in charge. But I still have to make sure I'm behind the wheel.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just like, hey, just take it. You know, like when you're driving, you got to make sure your hands are on the wheel. So yeah, I love living in the moment, because we oftentimes we forget that we are in a moment. We're too worried about yesterday, or we're too worried about tomorrow, that we miss out on the people around us or the opportunities that are right here. You know, so I have a clear vision where I'd like to go, but I have no idea what that's going to look like. Yeah. You know, not yet anyways, but it's getting there.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
What about producing Breaking Benjamin Sunday?
Producing that?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Are you kidding me? They could produce me. I mean, geez. It's Breaking Benjamin. That would be... them or Hellstorm. I don't know. I would probably fangirl so much they wouldn't want to work with me.
With either one or Hailstorm?
Probably both. Man, that would be a dream come true. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I'll tell you, I mean, if you're getting into your third semester now, right? We're recording this over a break between two. And how many are there in the Recording Arts program?
Well, I'm doing the degree plan, so there's 4. And there's the diploma plan, which is about 3.
Gotcha.
If I get that right. Pretty sure it's right. Nice. So the guys for the diploma, they're going to be done after this third semester, and then we graduate after the fourth.
Well, great. Well, I mean, if you're only halfway through school and producing what I heard you producing, I'm excited to hear what you're producing at the end of it. That's going to be awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Is there anything else you want to say? Anybody out there might be listening, and whether it's music or not, I think that your story lends itself to finding your passion and latching onto that and really trusting yourself, you know?
And, there's a song by Irene Cara called What a Feeling. And believe it or not, that's a very instrumental song in my life because she does have that verse, take your passion and make it happen. Music comes alive when I call. I can really have it all. I may not be saying it, exactly how she says it, but listen to the song and it's cheesy, it's 80s, but man, the message is cool.
Yeah.
And when you can learn to dance with fear, the biggest takeaway actually that I'd love to share is what I learned. When you're afraid of doing something because you're afraid of failing, aren't you already failing by not doing it?
I like that.
Yeah.
And
that's when I realized that, I'm like, oh, crap. Well, I mean, if I take a shot, I got a 50-50 chance, which is better than nothing.
Yeah.
But when you find your worth, and it's like, you know what? I don't care what people think of me. I don't care this is my life. You get one. What legacy do you want to leave behind? And I hope one day I can leave one hell of a legacy for my family, my kids, and anybody else who's willing to just know who I am, because I want to know your story. Because it matters.
That's an awesome goal, awesome way to build a business, too.
Absolutely.
So tell the good people out there how they could find you.
You can find me on social media. My little business is 2200 Taps. It's 2200 TAPS. Find me on the website, and my social media links are linked up to that website.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again so much for being on the podcast. If any of you are listening on YouTube or watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, hit that bell icon. We got lots of great content coming out, and we're going to be focusing a little more on the active students here.
That's awesome.
You can check out that hands-on series to see work that students are doing, as well as the student of the months, and then we also have the Grad You Did series over graduates. We got a lot of different stuff going.
That's so cool.
Be sure to subscribe there. If you're listening to this on any other platform, you can subscribe there as well. And we'll see you again next week on the MediaTech Podcast. Thank you again so much.
Thanks for having me.